Recording. Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Jayson Bates. I'm hosting a blab here with April Mauch. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm the lender who lives in and is a part of your community. And if you're not watching the live blab, then you're missing out. And you can check out the blab by going to my website and clicking on the live tab and watch future live episodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my website, one little plug here, www.valleyofthesunrealestateshow.com. So, and then, yeah, tell us how we can get a hold of you. And
absolutely. So if you're able to, get a part of being a part of this blab, it's definitely on my website too, which is listed at the bottom of the feed, but it's amauchaz.com. So you can definitely go in there, click on that link and be a part of this, or just come in through Twitter like the rest of us.
All right, cool. So we'll throw a little applause in there, right? So, all right, cool. So let's jump right into this because I think this is important. It's obviously it's a good timing thing, right? And that is why the holidays are a good time to sell your house or buy a house. And
absolutely.
So I don't think a lot of people here in Arizona, and you're in Arizona, right, April? So it's not as it's festive. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like there's 3 feet of snow on the ground here in Arizona, although you could make that argument in Flagstaff maybe.
Right.
The holidays kind of aren't, I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and the holidays were kind of like you knew you were in the holidays, right?
Absolutely.
It's not the same if you're not from here. If you grew up here, then you probably don't know any different. But,
well, and I think that the difference being there, because I'm from Kansas, same difference, colder weather, the wind, the snow. The difference is that's what's keeping people indoors as far as weather related there. But what's happening here in Arizona is now everybody's getting out and about and doing outdoor activities.
Right. Exactly. So, and that's the thing here, like Arizona, it's warm. We get a lot of snowbirds here during this time of year. So but it does, like you said, off camera, if you will, it does tend to slow down during the holiday season. We kind of tend to lose focus a little bit. At least, we're not as interested in real estate. We're interested in, clothes and toys and stuff like that. But it is a great time to sell or buy real estate. So we want to kind of touch base on some of the benefits, I guess, or some of the advantages in doing so. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that people are under that misconception that you don't want to put your house in on the holidays because the people aren't looking. Everybody is preoccupied. So therefore, there's not going to be traffic driven to your house, which actually, that can translate to less inventory, less competition. So when you're looking at it on a seller standpoint, that would be the time to come into the market. You have that ability of not being as, coming into especially here in February and March, where it really starts heating up and houses just, explode onto the market in January. You have less people that you have to compete with when you're looking at the buyer pool.
Absolutely. And, right now, at least here in Arizona, from our experience, right? So here in Arizona, I always, between like the end of October, Halloween to Super Bowl, it kind of slows down, right? And then after Super Bowl, it really picks up here in Arizona. I'm sure it's pretty similar for the rest of the country, but here in a warm weather climate, after Super Bowl, it seems like properties just sell, and that really sets the pace for the rest of the year.
Absolutely.
And so putting a house on the market now, you have a little bit of an advantage because there's less inventory on the market, right? So there's competition. So some of those projects that you may have been told that you need to do or fix or whatever to sell your house, you may not need to do that now because you're not in as much competition.
Well, yeah, that's definitely something to think about, but it's also, it's changing the mindset of agents as well as knowing that millennials are coming in. So a lot of times people are like, we don't want to move our kids during the school year. It's going to be too hectic. Let's wait till either the summertime or getting into when the school year is going to end. Well, we have that section of, population that's coming in that are able to be first-time home buyers, that don't have kids that they have to worry about, or professionals that happen to work in that industry, college students, professors, that this is the perfect time to buy for them. And they are in that market actively looking, and they are very serious about getting it done in this time frame.
Yeah, I mean, you touched base on it, right? So buyers typically that are looking to purchase now, there's two sides of that, right? There's always the more serious buyers, there's that argument there, but there's also, and I suppose this is probably true with any market, you tell me, or any time of the year, there may be some desperate buyers out there. Maybe they're getting kicked out of, wherever they're at now, maybe. I know here in Arizona, we have quite a few investors that are starting to liquidate some of their properties. Maybe they want to liquidate it before the end of the year or something like that. So you may have some renters that may be, I don't want to say desperate, but, maybe needing to purchase, quite quickly.
No, but also speaking of investors, Jason, you got to look at too that the ones that maybe have sold their investments off in the summer, they're looking to not get capital gains taxes on that. So they're looking also to purchase so that they're avoiding those. So it's both ways as an investor. Right.
Yeah, no, there's definitely that aspect of it too. But I do agree with you. I mean, buyers are more serious this time of year, and they know what they want, right? I mean, sometimes I don't see as many tire kickers. Now, granted, it all depends on the price range, right? I get that. There are going to be tire kickers in every price, every price range. But for the most part, the first-time home buyers who are actually looking right now seem to be very, very serious. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's people that have done their research online. They're wanting to go out there, find their house within a certain short period of time and have it done and moved in before the end of the year.
Yeah. And, Ken, Gordon said, hey, Arizona and Florida are very similar. I think Las Vegas, Florida, Southern California, maybe not so much Northern California, Arizona, we're all kind of almost like sister cities, sister states almost a little bit when it comes to it. Because what happens in Florida tends to actually happen here. Those warm weather climate areas, I think, tend to kind of follow suit with one another.
Absolutely. I think sometimes too that when you're talking about coming into the holidays and warmer climates, people tend to forget how that when you're from a colder climate and you're decorating and you're doing all of that fun stuff with the snow, some people might be hesitant to buy during that time of the year because maybe the snow is hiding defects or you can't really get into certain places to do the inspection properly. And here in the warmer states, Florida, Arizona, Southern California, Texas, that's not keeping buyers away because they can be able to inspect the entire property.
Right. You don't have to put on the parka or whatever to go out and look at properties.
Right.
Let me ask you, in regards to, because, we are not necessarily a transient state, but, a lot of implants here, right? You're from out of state. I'm from out of state originally. Do you think that snowbirds have, because, our snowbirds come, Labor Day? For the most part, they're generally here before Labor Day or right around Labor Day, and then they stay through Memorial Weekend or whatever.
Right.
That's kind of the time frame that I see for the most part. Do you think that snowbirds have an impact on whether or not you should be selling your property during this time of year, or is it really no impact at all?
No, I believe that it absolutely is a positive impact for us because our market now, we have a broader range of buyers. So the fact that we have this influx of a population that maybe are coming out to just test the waters, are out for a vacation, kind of like us, and fall in love with the state of Arizona, this is the perfect time to put your house up and market to those people that would not normally be here during the summer months.
Right. Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I just, I didn't know if it was too soon before the mark, but you're right. There are a lot of people that come down here for the first time, even Canadians. We get a lot of Canadians that come down here for the winter. And, they find a great deal. If there's a deal out there, they're apt to pull the trigger and purchase a home. So as we said before, I mean, less competition, you can really showcase your property. And not only that, you mentioned, for myself, not being as busy in the mortgage lending world, but yourself too, as a realtor, you've got more time to focus on a particular property.
Absolutely.
You're not as busy either. So you can spend a lot more quality time promoting that property and pushing it out there.
Absolutely. And that's something that the sellers need to definitely, when they're looking at hiring an agent during this time period, is it an agent that is going to be around? I mean, agents have lives too. We have families that we want to spend time with. But one of the things that the seller should be looking at during the holiday time period is that agent going to be around for the majority of this holiday season, or are they going to be leaving to go to, 3 weeks to go to Hawaii or Mexico and just take a break, because it is considered a slower time. So a lot of agents slow down, and that's when they come in and they do their vacation time too. So as a seller, that is something that you should make sure that you're asking your real estate agent, are you going to be available for me and during this holiday time period?
Yeah. And that's a good point, because there's a lot of agents that take, the holiday off. They just kind of circle the wagons and kind of just do nothing until it picks back up. So that's a good point, that your buyers and sellers should be asking how available you will be during the holiday period. So that's good. I'm glad you said that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, some of the things that I think that we should touch on is, during the holiday time, it's like, how do you prep your house? When you're going in as an agent and I'm meeting with my client the first time, I mean, part of that is setting up expectations of what selling a home is going to look like for them. Right. And with holidays, especially, you want to make sure that you have set up your seller in a way that's leading them through success for the whole transaction, but leading them to be stress-free during the holiday season. I mean, typically people get a little bit more frantic because they're, people are coming in and they have extra things on their schedule to do, as far as picking big holiday meals or, finding time to shop for the people that don't like to shop. Unlike, my husband or you that wait till the night before and go out shopping.
Yeah, the night before. I admit that. I am.
But people tend to schedule that into their lives. So, right. One of the things that I think as an agent, that when we're coming in and talking to them, is setting them up of, it is the holiday season, and yes, this is your home, but it is home that you're moving out of. And right. So getting them, what I tend to see from sellers is that the last thing that they're doing is moving on emotionally and psychologically from their house.
Right.
And especially in the holidays, the more that you can get your sellers to get into that mind frame that this is no longer going to be their home, and this is something that they're moving away from, and they can emotionally get to that point, psychologically get to that point, prep themselves for that. They'll be much happier during the holiday time. I mean, we want everybody to be happy during the holidays, especially.
Right. I mean, holidays can be stressful. There's no doubt about that. And selling a home in of itself is stressful. So you're right. You need to prep and be prepared during the holiday, because if you need to show your home, you want to be available, or you want your home to be available to show the home. And with that being said, I want to talk to you too and get your take on decorating, right? Because we talked about this before a little bit off camera or whatever.
Right.
But there's some do's and don'ts when it comes to decorating when you're trying to sell your home during the holidays, right? And everybody's got their own opinion on this, right? But I think you made some very, very valid points about decorating. So what should people, if you're putting your home on the market, what are some of the do's and don'ts for that? And decorating?
Well, absolutely. So one of the things that, when you're first coming in and meeting with a client and talking to them about putting their house on the market, one thing that we talk about is decluttering. Well, that's kind of the opposite of what you do in the holiday. You're adding holiday decorations to what you already have out and about. But what's important is, I think, as you're getting ready to move and decluttering, you take key pieces, and you still want to decorate because you are enjoying the holiday season still in this home. You want people to feel warm and cozy when they come in and kind of have that holiday spirit. So it's taking key pieces of your decorating and adding that into your home. But I think one of the things that people maybe not think about is their aesthetic of the inside of their home, as far as their color palettes, what kind of pieces of key furniture that they have around their living room or in their kitchens and things like that. And if I have walls that are blue and gray, the last thing that I want to do is put up red and green decorations everywhere, and have have that focus be shifted to my decorations versus what my house looks like. So complementing what you already have. So if I have blue and gray walls, maybe have my decorations for the holidays be more of nature, pine cones, wreaths, little bits of that, and maybe snowflakes, silvery kind of looking decorations versus going for the reds and the greens. A little bit opposite when you have warm tones in your house. So
I think you touched base on something too that I want you to, because I've seen some homes where they have the choo-choo trains and they have everything a kitchen table set up and it takes away from the home, that people can't really see the home through the decorations, right? So there's too much.
Correct.
And you said before, you can decorate to your taste, be complementary to showcasing the house, which I think is very, very important, but don't overdo it, right? So if you put out like tons of, if you're the Griswolds and you got all those lights, I mean, that might be a little bit much, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's important. Don't try to overdo it to showcase everybody that you got the best decorations on the block, but hopefully so that the home still shows well, feels warm and inviting, and people can kind of see what the decorations look like. So when they spend their Christmas there, they get a sense of where the tree might go, or where it best fits, or where it maybe doesn't fit, whatever.
Right. And for people that, you speaking of Christmas trees, I mean, for me, I have this tiny little tree that's 6 foot tall where I can put my star up in it, and it's not a big deal. It doesn't take up much of my living room space. And then there's people that buy these trees that touch the ceiling, that the circumference is so huge that you lose the aspect of the room for the buyer. And the buyer can't envision what it would look like for them to come in. So knowing what you have, what pieces that are a part of that presence would be a big thing. If you put presents out early, maybe stack them, against the wall or behind the tree a little bit more. Just, you want your focus to be on the house, and anything that you still want to be festive and decorate. So anything that you do, you want to think of the thought of, is this taking away from my features of my home, or is this adding to the features of my home?
And let me talk to you about that a little bit more, because there's some people who say you don't necessarily, you want to appeal to all religions, right? And you want to be neutral. We're in this politically correct world where Starbucks, you can't even say Merry Christmas in Starbucks so
right.
I think that's part of what's holding back people from potentially selling their home and then waiting till January or February to sell their home, and why there is such a demand then and so much more competition during those months, because everybody waits during the holidays to actually list their home, because they're afraid to not appeal to everybody. And I think it's kind of crazy. I think, hey, show the Christmas tree, show what, if somebody who doesn't necessarily believe in Christmas comes in, well, they can not pay attention to it. It's your house, right?
Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree 100%. Now, like we said, you'd want to minimize some of that. I mean, you're not going to want to put, a nativity scene in every single room necessarily with, crosses and everything. It's just kind of the same concept as in the normal, months that we are selling our house. We suggest that you take down personal pictures of yourself. You want to be able to appeal to the broadest number of people possible and not distract them from other things. But absolutely, going into somebody's house and somebody having up a Christmas tree or a nativity scene, if it's done in the moderation and in what they celebrate, then that's not taking away from the selling of the home. If I don't believe in the same thing, that's going to be gone once you move.
Right. And I think that holds true with anything, right? So I've walked into homes where, you have families from the Far East or something, and they have the decor in their traditional decor. And, me as a buyer, I don't really get offended by that. And so I just kind of look through it and move on. Right. But I do think that there is a little bit of a barrier that we've created in our industry, that you want to open it up to everybody to a point where the house doesn't show necessarily your personality, and it's kind of,
Right. Absolutely. Because you still have to live there too. I mean, you are moving on, but you still want to have your family feel cozy and warm just as anybody else that's walking in.
Right.
So, but it's like the color of the walls. I mean, some people can come in and see past the color of the walls, and some people have a very hard time
Right.
noticing that. But one way to kind of get around the people that might not be able to get past the decor that you decided to set up is, if you're going into the holiday season, have your agent or the professionals that are taking the pictures take pictures of what your home looks like before your decorations go up, so that there is a sample of what your home looks like without that, and as well as having what your home looks like when it is decorated. But for me, it's one of the best times of the year. The neighborhoods seem to look brighter, more appealing. Same as your house. You have good smelling cookies, that are being baked, and nice classical music maybe playing in the background, and it's a great time of the year.
Well, and you touched on neighborhood, right? And the neighborhood being more, or more inviting and maybe more appealing, prettier with the lights and stuff like that. I think too, beyond that, you get a little bit better sense as a buyer. You get a better sense of the actual neighborhood. Who are the people who turn off the porch lights, and who are the people who are participating in the lights. You can kind of see that pretty easily when driving through the neighborhood. My neighbors down on the court there, they're like the Griswolds. I mean, they're like with the other neighbors, right? And we get people that drive through our neighborhood to look at the Christmas lights. Now, some people, if I was selling my house, may not want that traffic. So you get a sense of what the neighborhood vibe is, if you will, I think more so during Christmas and during the holiday season than any other time of the year.
Yeah. And Ken Gordon over here said less is more. And I do think that that's something that is absolutely true, especially when you are decorating the outside of your home. Use that as a opportunity to accentuate the architecture of your home. Like for us, we have that nice, huge entryway that comes to, the peak, and being able to put your lights around and accentuate how my house is different than the house next door or down the street by uplighting it and doing some fun stuff festively. I think that gives it better curb appeal. Yeah,
good point. Very good point. Yeah, there are a couple of things too that we want to touch base on, and we're going pretty good here on time, so that's good. Is timing is everything. So buyers, some buyers, because we talked about them being more serious time of year, they may want to get into a house before the end of the year for tax purposes and some of the tax breaks that are involved with purchasing a home, some of the closing costs and things like that. So that's kind of goes in line with buyers being more serious. So that's something to consider.
And it might be something too, as a seller and a buyer coming in, you can maybe potentially sell your home, but not have to move out until the beginning of the year or after the holidays. I mean, this is something that maybe they just want to have where they know that they're going. You can have the deal accomplished, but actually have a later date to be moving out on. So you don't ever want to think that this isn't a good time to purchase or to sell your home, because it's the perfect time.
Right. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I agree 100%. So I know we've covered a lot here, and I think we've gone about 30 minutes, which is really, really good. And I think we've given a good sense as to, just selling during the holiday, I think is a great time to sell and purchase for that matter.
Absolutely.
I know from a buyer's perspective, I'll say this real quick. In the summertime or springtime here for buyers, we have multiple offers on homes, and it can be very, very frustrating for buyers. I've had buyers last year, or this year, I should say, the beginning of the year, who just got so frustrated because they were getting outbid and just kind of seeing their homes. They get excited. It's an emotional deal. Get so frustrated, they just gave up and went and rented.
Absolutely. And honestly, it could be a little bit more cranky too. I mean, if we're going into houses that are vacant and the air conditioner's not on, I mean, people are in and out of those homes making quick decisions. Right now, our weather's perfect. You want to draw those people into your home where they're going to be wanting to spend time. It's beautiful out. You can have your windows open and have them get to be a part of the outdoors as well, and have them spending a longer period of time in your home. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the other thing too, that is something that I'll mention for the northern climates, when you're in the home and you spend a lot of time walking through the home or whatever, you can feel how maybe I'm off base here. I don't know, but I would think that you'd be able to feel how warm the home is, maybe how efficient the heater is. You could hear it kick on, see how loud it is. Those sort of things that you'll pick up on that you wouldn't otherwise pick up on as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and you're speaking of colder climates, and just for the fact of talking about prepping, we really didn't talk about curb appeal for them. So one of the things that I would say, because you do have buyers coming in, you might be under 3 feet of snow, or your heater's running and dead leaves everywhere. Just make sure that you're keeping that spot clean.
Right.
You want to make sure as they're walking up to the house too, that they're feeling invited, they're feeling welcome into the home, and that they'll want to spend time inside.
Absolutely. I agree. All right, cool. So, well, if you want to reach out to me, I'd love to hear from you, and you can do so by visiting my website. I'm going to start this music here again. I don't know if it's funky or what, but we'll play the music here for the outgo. And then, but reach out to me on my website, www.valleyofthesunrealestateshow.com. From there, connect with me on anything, social media, and even right here on Blab. And I'd like to see all of you out there joining me on the next Blab, the live Blab. So
absolutely.
Hold of you too, April.
Yeah, same thing. You can contact me through Blab. You can contact me through my website, amauchaz.com. Give me a call. I'm open to conversation, 480-256-8802. Social media outlets as well. So I'm excited to hear what you guys think. And if you have any other questions that you come across that you couldn't think of while we were doing this broadcast.
All right, cool. Well, until next time, thanks again. And if you're listening to me on iTunes, please write a review, as it is one of the only ways that I have to help improve the show. And happy house hunting.
Bye, guys.